everyone. Welcome to the Beat 139. I'm Doc.
I'm Don Vito. How y'all feeling? How's everybody doing on a happy Friday? It's the weekend. We got the Super Bowl this weekend. It's cold out there, but I know people coming out for that Super Bowl. So tonight, folks, we're extremely excited to have a special guest with us, known as the Love Man with his signature voice, smooth, silky baritone voice, the host of the nationally syndicated radio show, The Quiet Storm. Everybody know about The Quiet Storm with my man Lenny Green, WBLS 107.5 FM. Welcome to the show, Mr. Lenny Green. How you doing, buddy?
Welcome.
Gentlemen, I'm
Good to have you here, brother. I got
privileged
class
to
right
be
here,
here,
man.
but I'm honored to be here. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't see what goes on in front of them, I'm looking at a beautiful portrait of a bridge. Now that bridge is very significant to me.
Okay, talk about it.
It's the Brooklyn Bridge.
The Brooklyn, exactly.
Okay.
I'm from Brooklyn.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, I know where I'm at, but I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised, and I wear that stripe pretty proudly.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that too. You know,
I'm born and raised in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
man. Born in Crown Heights, raised in Bushwick, Canarsie, strongly in East New York, and Bed-Stuy. So I wear that stripe. But here's the crazy part about it. Family moved to Harlem
right?
before I came into the world.
Oh wow.
My brother was born in Harlem Hospital. My mama went to church in Harlem. My mama loved Harlem.
Right.
They lived up on 143rd, 44th Street.
Okay.
This is before Lenny became Lenny.
Okay.
And I was born in Brooklyn 13 or 12 years later.
Okay, BK.
Wow.
Okay.
So Harlem has always it's in my DNA
Right.
because family was here. My mom's church was in Harlem. My church is in Harlem.
Okay. What church is that?
Abyssinian.
Okay.
Abyssinian Baptist. So.
You know, it's crazy because I always thought you was from Harlem. Like,
Really?
your energy feel Harlem. Like, you did the Harlem Honors with us. Like,
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
always
sir.
thought you
Yes,
was from
sir.
Harlem. There's something
Wow,
I know.
that's deep. Well, you know what? I wear the tri-state of New York, man. Very, very
Absolutely.
proudly, brother.
Yeah.
You know, it's something about us when we come from New York. So I think we all represent each other's boroughs, even though we're in specific boroughs by itself. So. Yeah, I'm honored to be here, but thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I've been hearing a lot about the show. I've been watching you guys periodically when I'm not working, and that's all the time. But congratulations on this wonderful, successful podcast, man.
Well, I definitely appreciate that because, like V said, it's an honor to us to even have somebody at your status to come. You're still relevant to this day, and your topics, your relationship topics, like, you know, we catch you every day except the Wednesday. And you on the same time we on.
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, they're my competition, but you know what? Competition is good because it helps you grow, helps you stay relevant, helps you stay sharp. So I am just privileged, man. So thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to be in your space tonight.
We're glad to have you, man. So you Brooklyn native.
Yes, sir.
And so a lot of people don't know that you tried to perform when you was young. Did the
Yeah.
and stuff.
See, Harlem connected once again. I at 9 years old, no one could have told me I was going to be doing radio. I was huge Jackson 5, Michael Jackson fan. You couldn't tell me that I was not going to be the second invention of a Michael Jackson. I was so much into Michael Jackson, I had my mama find me that corduroy coat.
Okay.
It was a brown corduroy coat, tan corduroy coat, and she found that. It wasn't the exact coat, but it looked exact to me. And between that and using my little plastic microphone, I would get up and perform in my living room, man, and just have a ball. And I stayed on the singing tip for a long time, actually until I got to college. I went to Kingsborough Community College in Brooklyn, and that's when I got exposed to radio, and then singing was like, forget that.
And then you moved to Richmond, Virginia, something like that.
That was the first break, but you know, the college radio thing
College radio. Okay.
is where I got my roots from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know what's funny? I always want to ask you this, right? Your voice, like, by you speaking the way you speak, your voice, like, is distinguished voice. Everybody knows your voice. Like, he didn't know you, but he said, "Oh, I know that voice." That got you into radio?
You know what? I was singing, didn't think about radio, wasn't doing nothing related to radio. I would listen to the voices. At that time, it was Frankie Crocker, Vaughn Harper, Ken Webb, Gary Bird, who was still doing and going very, very strong. Fred Bugsy Buggs, and all these cats, man. So it was coming into my ear, coming into my DNA like it came into everybody else's. But I guess, you know, just like with anything, if you continue to work at it and work at it and work at it, it just kind of takes a shape of its own.
Right.
And then by me being influenced by the voices that I heard back in the day, I guess I got better. But trust me when I tell you, my voice wasn't developed to where it is now when I first started.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't. But by me constantly listening to their styles, listening to how they presented themselves, I started reading papers and magazines out loud, and I guess I was imitating them, you know. And I guess after a while, a little bit of them rubbed off on me. It's just like when you hear a preacher.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, say when you hear a preacher, it's like, oh, he got that preacher voice. I guess I got that radio voice, but by my influence, because I was influenced by.
So you started like singing first,
Yes.
and then you went to assistant program director.
Well, that was a big jump years later when I first started.
Before you turned into a host.
Well, yeah. Before I took, well, you know, once I got into that college radio station,
Right.
they gave me at Kingsburg Community College, which is, I'm happy to tell your listeners that they have a wonderful radio and TV program at that community college.
Okay.
So I got involved with that radio station. They gave me a show, a 7-hour show. The crazy part, 7 is a very spiritual number. 7 has always been associated with me, even to this day. I start my show at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
My college radio show started at 7 o'clock. So I did that for like a year and a half, and then I got out of school, and then the assistant program director stuff didn't even happen. I just started getting out in the field. I worked at Channel 5,
Right.
which is Fox
Yeah.
now. And then I worked in a radio syndication company that used to do shows.
Right.
They would bring celebrities in. The host would sit down with the celebrities. They would take the conversation and then they would cut it up. And then they would send it out to people. Then I worked for a company that owned 98.7 KISS.
Right, that's what we're talking about.
And then I was just ripping paper
Right.
off of the machines and giving it to the anchors, the
Right.
news anchors,
Right.
for them to read. So that assistant program director stuff didn't happen until I got to New Haven, Connecticut, and that was years later, man. Much further down the road.
Yeah, not to go back to what we talked about, but I don't know if you remember the story. The reason why I asked you about your voice, and other people was curious too. Everybody was saying the guy sounds just like you. You remember maybe like, I can't remember, maybe 5-6 years ago, a homeless guy.
Oh yeah.
He had a voice, it sounds similar to yours.
Yeah.
And he was homeless, and they put him on because his
Golden
voice.
Horse.
Yeah, I think
His
he was
voice.
all over the news for a
He's
little
all
while.
over his news.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
heard him. He's homeless.
Yeah.
He's
Remember
asking
that
for
guy?
money.
He
It
was
sounds
popular
similar
for a little while.
to Lenny.
He was huge.
Yeah.
And here's what, it's a rags to riches.
Right.
Back to Rich's story. So he was going up the cars,
Yeah.
and he would, I guess his sign said that he was a radio guy, and somebody videotaped it. It went viral.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey found out about it, and all these other people. I think he's from Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio.
And
Yeah.
they gave him an opportunity. Unfortunately, he fell on bad times. Got caught up in drugs.
Right.
All that went away.
Right.
He's back now. So he's doing great things. I'm so happy for that
yeah?
brother. He's doing great things. He's doing great commercial campaigns. And that's what a lot of folks don't pay attention to. They just think about the radio thing, right? But the big money is in the voiceovers.
Right.
That's the big money.
You do voiceovers.
I'm trying to get into voiceovers. That's big money.
Yeah.
If you really, I mean, and people, you know, of our age, they come to, they may ask me from time to time, man, I want to get started on radio. I say, you really don't. Because radio, if you didn't get in at a certain age, but you can still make money on that, on your voice.
Right.
Yeah.
If you just study voiceover work. One sentence, you can make $4,000.
They got classes
Wow.
They have certain classes. There was another radio legend out of New York called G. Keith Alexander.
for that? Remember.
Yeah.
He used to be on WBLS back in the day.
Right.
He started a thing called the Voiceover Academy here in New York City. And I don't know if it's still existing. I think it is. But G. Keith Alexander is the king of voiceovers. He's made a wonderful career after radio, making a lot of money doing voiceover work. And then voiceover work led to him being on camera on TV. So I would encourage you, I'm still trying to break into this game of voiceover work. But voiceover work, we realize now, is also animation.
Right.
which is huge.
Yeah.
So if you could think of any commercial that you see on the radio, hear on the radio, or any commercial that you don't see the announcer, but you hear the voice, that's voiceover work. That little gecko on Geico, I wish I was that gecko. That voice is making a lot of money.
A lot of money.
So think about voiceover work.
Yeah, wow.
I'm still trying to break it down, brothers.
I'm gonna think about that. I'm gonna look into it.
When you look into that the right way, study it, and as long as you can play with the many personalities that you have, because we can't, radio is theater of the mind.
Right.
Back in the day, people would sit in front of their radio, like we sit in front of our TVs, and look at the radio and envision what was being said, because they would create theater.
Right.
So radio is still an invisible medium.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But I'm telling you, if I could drop a seed of awareness into both of your souls tonight, I would say look into voiceover work. It is huge, huge, huge.
I'm gonna check that out too. So Joe from Lenny Green right here.
Yeah, definitely a Jew.
So I'm curious, right? So how was your experience at 98.7 KISS?
So prior to coming to 98.7 KISS, to go back, like you said, my first radio gig started in Richmond, Virginia.
Right.
A little small AM station in Richmond, Virginia. Stayed there for like maybe almost a year. From Virginia, I saw a job opening, a part-time job opening, only on Saturdays and Sundays, in New Haven, Connecticut. Okay. Another AM station, black formatted station, 24-hour station. It was at the time, it was the only 24-hour black radio station in Connecticut. Yeah. Stayed there, and that's where I really cut and learned my chops in terms of learning style and just being on the radio regularly. And then after that, a blessing came, and I knew somebody who I met years ago who used to, remember that syndication company I told you that they used to bring people, the announcers in, and they would interview the artists, and they'd send out the stuff. Yeah. This brother used to interview some of those artists from time to time. And what ended up happening, he ended up becoming a very, very, very valuable resource for me, because one of his best friends that he grew up with was Vinnie Brown. Vinnie Brown was the program director at 98.7 KISS. Okay. The job in New Haven, Connecticut, the radio station went to black, meaning they shut their doors down. They went bankrupt. So when he heard about it, I bumped into him, and he said, "Hey man, the next time you in New York, I'll call my buddy Vinnie Brown up." I'm like, "Man, I've known you 10 years. I didn't know Vinnie Brown was your friend." Yeah. And he was a man of his word. And I came by, he called him up. The next day I had an interview. Vinnie Brown used these words, and I'm going to say these words if I can remember precisely. He said, "I heard about you, brother. I don't have a job for you. I have all my slots are filled. But would you take what I have?" Wait, you don't have a job for me, but will I take what you have? Well, what do you have? I don't have a job, but I only thing I can tell you is that we'll keep you in mind. Do you want that? Yes, sir. I want whatever I can't see. I want whatever is not available.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. 3 weeks later, he called me up. He says, "Look, I still don't have any on-air positions available." This is at 98.7 KISS.
Right.
But my music director has to take a leave of absence for a minute. I just need you to come in, open up the mail, and answer the phones. I can only pay you $10 an hour. Do you want it? Yes, sir.
Right.
I went from not being in the building to being in the building now.
Right.
Yeah.
I had experience being on air.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't want me for that.
Right.
Can you answer the phone and open up the mail? I could do that.
Yeah. Humbled yourself.
I could do that. Yeah.
Right.
But because in my mind, I said, should somebody call in sick one day, I'm here.
Yeah, it is.
Should somebody can somebody read this commercial? I could do that.
Yeah.
Can you do this? I could do that. I was the bottom of the barrel.
Right.
I'll do it.
Right.
Right? Someone called and said, like maybe 3 months later, "Yo, Lenny, can you do middays?" Can I do middays? I was nervous as shit.
I can imagine.
Man,
98.7.
98.7.
See, back then they had the rap too.
What?
They had the rap and R&B back then.
Brother, I was nervous beyond nervous. Nervous beyond nervous. But God doesn't put you in something you can't handle.
That's right.
Yep.
So I knew this was my moment. Look, in this game and in certain games in life, you get maybe one chance up at bat.
Exactly. I tell people that all the time.
You can't strike out.
Yeah, you can't.
And this is New York, baby.
New York.
You cannot strike out. Well, you better, if you can't hit the home run, at least hit a grand slam. Something.
Hit the ball somewhere.
You can't strike out.
No, you can't strike out.
Especially 98.7. That was huge back then.
Oh, my God.
Back then, it was huge.
Big opportunity, too.
Huge.
Yeah.
And so I got through it, man. I did it, and they were cool. I didn't lose my job. And then, as the story would be told, I stayed with 98.7 KISS, for like 17 years.
Yeah.
And I went from not having a job to opening up the mail, answering the phones, to hosting Kissing After Dark.
Yeah, Kissing After Dark. All stuff.
The love show.
Love show.
So God has been good.
But you know what's crazy though? And this is why I'm glad you said the story. I love stories. But stories is like, to listen, they love it. Because you gain out of it instead of, just listening. And it's showing the viewers, like my son here, just to open your eyes what it takes.
Yeah.
What it takes, the steps you took, as far as, like I said, open the mail. Then you being available. And then also, to give the guy credit, he saw something in you. For him to even call you back.
Going back, yeah.
And say, I still don't have nothing, but you could come do this. Because he ain't had to do that.
He didn't have to do that. And
for him to do that, that's a check on you. Like, he saw something in you. For him to sit there and say, I don't have nothing, but would you,
Well, you know what? All of us have the potential of doing things if we're just given an opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
The only thing is, and you do have to see, because I have interns now. And, some interns I've had didn't measure up to the level.
Right.
Everybody sees the shiny apple. But not everybody can grab it.
Right.
Because they still have yet to learn some things. And unfortunately, the younger generation these days, they have to understand who walks before them. A lot of them just see it, and they just want to jump for the golden, the platinum apple.
Right.
And you got to learn the steps. You got to understand the game.
You got to crawl before you walk.
You do. And I studied the legends.
Yes.
And I used to go to the radio conventions, and I would sit up there, and I would see I knew all the big reels, from Vinnie Brown to all the other cats who were at radio stations. I knew about the Tom Joyners, the Doug Banks, that they were really, really popular at the time.
Yeah,
they covered the country. Yeah. They covered the country. They were in syndication.
Syndication for a while.
I didn't even know what syndication was, but I just knew they were everywhere.
Yeah, Tom Joyner and Doug Banks was syndicated for a long time.
Actually, Tom Joyner was first.
Yeah.
And I think Tom Joyner opened up the door for Doug.
Doug Banks, yeah.
And Doug came in. And Tom Joyner got the title of Fly Jock.
Yeah.
Because he did mornings in Chicago, and then got on the plane and did afternoons the same day.
Wow.
So he did that for years.
Yeah.
And he paid his stripes. I think this year in 2019, I heard rumor has it that he may decide to retire. He put his time in, but what a blessing!
He's a legend.
Yeah,
like Hal Jackson.
Yeah, Hal Jackson.
Hal Jackson worked in radio till he was 90.
Yeah.
Blessing.
Damn.
So how long you been at BLS now?
Surprisingly, I've been at BLS 7 years. There goes the 7 again.
Yeah.
Wow.
7 years.
17,
Play that
7. That's 7, huh?
7, yeah.
7. Nah, it's a blessing. I'm so thankful.
And your
I'm
show is
grateful.
syndicated.
The show is now syndicated. We are in 8 markets. Yep, we're in 8 markets. So we go from Louisiana to Grand Rapids, Michigan, to Arkansas, to Oklahoma, to Georgia, to North Carolina, and we're in Nassau, Bahamas. And WBLS has a strong history. So ever since the 70s, BLS has been online, unlike a lot of other radio stations. So we have people from all over the world, literally, that listen to the station online every night.
WBLS is one of the longest running radio shows in history.
And at one time, one of the longest running black-owned.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not black-owned no more. However, now I think Kathy Hughes would be the only minority largest.
What was that other radio station that was on AM?
Super 16.
Super 16, WRL.
That's where all the cats, that's where Frankie Crocker,
Super 16,
Jerry
yeah,
Bledsoe,
WRL,
Don Early Allen. There was cats, man. And again, I didn't know that I was going to be doing this radio thing, but I would hear all these voices.
Because they was bigger than FM at the time.
Yes, sir.
But also, what I like, something you just, lighten us to, when you I went to the radio conventions.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that we talk, we have our meetings all the time with our staff. We trying to get to more, trying to just do a lot of things like that. Like try to, exert ourselves and do outside the norm.
And I think, you know what, they downsize. The industry now is downsized. You know, they lost a lot of money. There's not a lot of record companies that used to be. And they've eliminated just about all, excuse me, all radio conventions. There may be one left. But I would encourage you, brothers, if there is one, that you get out there. Because the key thing is networking.
Yes.
It's important that people see you. It's important that you put a card in their hand. It's important that you see what they do. It's important that you sit back and observe what they do. It's important that you just make that relationship, because 96% of this game is relationships.
Yep.
It's building rapport with people.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be, and there are some people that have been very, very successful with it, the shock jock.
Yeah.
Like, I knew about the controversy that happened in a lot of artists' lives. If I get an artist to sit down with me, my thing, especially if I'm meeting them for the first time, is to build a bond, build a relationship,
Right.
create that. I'm not here to ask the question of questions that's going to piss them off,
Right.
and they're going to walk out the door,
Right.
and now I'm kind of tarnished.
Right.
Tarnished by the artist, I'm tarnished by the industry, the reps that brought them in. We don't want to bring the artist anymore about artists up here because this
Right.
guy's going to go left.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of keep it respectful.
Yeah. Same
I've
way we
kept
do
it
it.
so. Yeah,
Same
exactly.
thing, exactly.
And you go along. Look, Wendy Williams, I love her dearly, but she made a living.
She made a
That's her
living.
thing.
Yeah, but not too many people can get over like that.
Yeah.
Not too well. That's where black folks can go.
Exactly. That's what I mean. You know.
For sure.
Yeah.
And for her to do what she has done,
Yeah.
and now she's a mega star when it comes to TV. I applaud Wendy for all that she's done.
Yeah.
She took a lot of chances.
Yes, she did.
And
She rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and she still made it through.
she made it through. She took some hard knocks for that.
Yeah, she did.
But now she has surfaced to a great level, and where everyone is starting to come back around and see her. And she's grown.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, when you get into the game, not everybody can do that.
Right.
Like you said, not
Yeah,
everybody
everybody
can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I want to jump in for a minute, like something that you just touched on about building relationships and rubbing elbows and networking. A lot of people ask me, "Are you always out?" I said, "Well, you know, I'm one of the representatives of the Beat 139.
Right.
You know, us three right here, we move around because we have to move around. This is what we have to network. We have to put our card in somebody's hand.
Yep.
We have to get out there so people can eat. And we go out, people, hey, the Beat 139. It makes us feel good because we see we getting more and more popular, but
Yep.
we have to get out there. It's like me and you been at a couple of events already.
All right.
You know, and I talk to you and we get along real good. But if I would move around, I would have never met you.
Well, let me tell you something.
See what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
And now, see, this is podcast, which is the next trend. You guys are at a great level right now because you're a part of the trend that's growing.
Yes.
But it's radio.
Yes.
It's podcast radio.
That's what it exactly is.
I started in this AM thing of radio. AM radio and black radio in particular. Black radio was always a community-based radio station. Black radio was responsible for keeping people in our communities abreast of what was going on,
Right.
not only music industry-wise, but just politically, socially. We were connected to the community, and that's what the community has grown to expect from us.
Yes.
No different when podcasting.
Yeah.
You have to make yourself connected to your community. Now, obviously, you guys cover the world
Yeah.
because you're online. You can't touch everybody in the world, but that doesn't mean when you get to whatever country or whatever city you're going to, you cannot tell them about. You cannot hold back from telling about the B139.
Exactly.
It's your job,
Right.
and you should want that. And at the same token, you should want to obtain information because you guys have a platform where there's no restrictions. Unlike commercial radio,
Right.
there may be restrictions. You got a management team, you got the FCC that really kind of holds you back from saying information. The problems that's happening in politics or in our communities, you know, if we have high crime, if we have high homelessness, what you guys can do to affect that and to bring awareness to that is really important. So, you know, what happened, my philosophy is, and I'm syndicated, it's true, but what happens in Chicago could happen in New York, could happen in Atlanta, could happen in North Carolina. So we are all the same people
Right.
and living in different parts of the world.
Right.
Those 15 people that were found frozen to death in Chicago. Look, the weather has been crazy in New York,
Crazy.
right?
Yeah.
That could have very well happened here. It may have happened here. Maybe it hasn't been 15 people because unfortunately, the homeless are people that a lot of people don't pay attention to.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't get to the news, we don't know anything about it,
Exactly.
unfortunately. But this is where you brothers come in. So I applaud you brothers for being out in the community and meeting the people, because I believe in doing that. Coming from AM radio taught me how to touch people, how to get out beyond the studio and shake a hand and say hello and build a bond. Building the relationship is important, not only with people within our business, the community.
The community.
Because it's the community that
And
keeps you
we touched on that earlier today,
But
too.
you know, it was funny. Lenny actually said that. As far as the homeless, like it's like a double-edged sword. We do a lot, but we don't put that on it.
You got to. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, I would do it.
Oh, okay.
I would do what, because people, you can't expect people to just know
Right.
what you do. You bring on representatives in the industry, bring on a representative that's representing the homeless, someone who's dealing with abuse, to get involved with their organization and help bring awareness to that. There's many people that listen to your show that might be going through a situation, might be dealing with a tragic. You can bring resolution to that. Bring on a psychologist who might be able to deal with a person's mental instability.
We had it 3 times already.
Oh, really?
We
So
had it 3 times.
you're doing.
floral.
There you go. That's important.
We had everything that you're talking about in rotation.
Yeah, rotation. Yeah.
And today, we were talking about that earlier. That this week coming up, we need to get something more community stuff going on, right?
Can't go wrong.
So to listen to you say that makes us actually
Yeah,
feel good, because we on the right path.
And I'm glad you did tell us, because we felt like funny, like not funny, but we felt like it's like sometimes people you like, oh, they only doing that, they're on camera, like they doing that to show people the homeless, but that's not really in their heart how they feel about helping this guy. So we never put it out there.
Right.
We did it from our heart, fed them, and gave us old clothes we had.
But you have to let people know, and
You
not
gotta
only
know.
let
Yeah,
your
we're gonna do it,
listeners
man.
know. Don't only let your listeners and your viewers know, but let the other media outlets know.
Yeah.
Channel 12 is important. It's important if you got this banner up, or you got, you're giving out T-shirts, you're giving out water with the logos on the water. Let Channel 12 know about what you're doing, because they again reach the masses, and it's important that more people know about the importance of the Beat 139, because you're more than just this room. You're more than just your broadcast.
Right.
You're a community-based station. You're an international world program. So keep touching
That's
the
some of the
people.
jewels that he giving us that you
I
can
love
ask about.
it.
I'm gonna ask Lenny Green for a couple of jewels. He already giving them automatically.
Giving automatically.
Hey, man,
It's crazy because we just
Yeah.
talked before you came. I said I'm gonna ask him, but you doing it on your own. So that made me feel
I like
good.
to speak from my heart.
That feel good right there, because we want to learn. We really want to learn.
You know what?
We want to know.
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
If I feel that when a person thinks that they know all the answers, they need to just sit in the corner.
Yeah.
I don't think we can ever stop growing. When you feel that you got all the answers and no one can tell you anything, I can't associate myself with you, because I don't know about that life.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we're all students of life. At least I am. I'm a student of life. There's nothing that I know too much of that I can't learn more about.
Right.
Real talk.
Man, like this is definitely good for me. 'Cause now I feel good about this, especially with the home, because it was like we wanted to do it.
Gotta do it.
But then we was like, it may come off the wrong way.
It can never come off the wrong way. When you're helping people, it can never come off the wrong way. And look, my philosophy is, if they talked about Jesus, who am I? Who am I?
Exactly.
You've seen the stories. I've seen the stories. I read the word. It didn't seem
That's
like he
true.
did anything wrong. He seemed like he was helping people.
Yeah.
But yet, they still
They still
crucified him.
crucified
They
him.
talked about him.
Yeah.
They called him, it was blasphemy.
Yeah.
Hey, look, if they talk about Jesus, worry about when they stop talking about you.
That's it. That's what you should worry about. Exactly.
Right, when they're talking about me and I know I'm doing good for people.
So let me touch on so tonight when we was at Stingrays.
Mhm.
Do you do an event
Confessions
like
of Love.
that? Confessions of Love.
Right,
Exactly. Do
Indy.
you do events like that normally?
Indy and I, Indy Smith is a young lady that I have been working with for probably 9 years now. And when she came to my attention through one of my producers, Global Vito, I wanted to have a woman's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we as men, we have our own perspective, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to have a balanced perspective when it comes to love and relationships. I know women are challenged with a lot of situations in relationships, we as men are challenged with a lot of situations in relationships. To have that balance and to have that extra voice and a woman who's focused, who is intelligent, who obviously can speak strongly on relationship matters, I needed that. Indy Smith worked very well in that lane, and we gelled. We had good chemistry together, and she brought everything I needed to the table. So we started something up probably around 4 years ago.
Right.
It was called The Reality of Love, and we did the same thing, but we did it with a celebrity panel, similar to what we do at Circle of Sisters with WBLS. They bring out the celebrities because look. Just because they're a celebrity don't mean that they're not dealing with everyday issues.
Exactly.
You hear about it all the time. You
Right.
know, people getting divorced. You know, the
Cheating and all
cheating,
that.
the whole nine,
Yeah.
and they got money.
Right.
So we all deal with issues when it comes to relationships. So and with WBLS, we deal with it on that level. So I wanted to start up something in the community, dealing with the community once again,
Right.
and talk about love and relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that the owners at Russ and Erica at Stingray allowed us to come in there. It was a free event, as you know,
Right.
and talk about openly and candidly. And you were very verbal and,
Yeah.
and very honest and very truthful
Yeah,
with your passion and how you felt about certain things. And that's what helps. Without great communication in our relationships, and women knowing how we feel, we're not going to be able to grow.
Right.
And the report that I get from most women is that we as men, we're not great communicators.
Right.
So if I create a forum where we're both of us can come down and sit at the table, men and women can sit at the table, have a great time, and be open and honest and with no holds bar conversation about how we really feel about certain things. Hopefully we may not agree with everything.
Right.
We may not come to a right sound point, but I think it's healthy. We have the right to disagree, right?
Yep.
So we can agree to disagree, and we can walk away with some open dialogue. We can walk away with, well, let me think about that on my own. And you might come back with a different perspective, or you might decide to do something in your relationship that you never did before, because now you're hearing objective opinions from people who don't know you, and they're speaking their part, and you already have your position, and now you might have a change of heart about certain things. So we wanted to create dialogue,
Right.
and what better place than in the village of Harlem
Right.
to do it. So I loved it, man.
And it's about that understanding. A lot of people don't communicate. And when people do communicate, it's like this,
Yeah.
or it's like this.
Yeah, and that's not.
It's not this, or it's not like,
It's not that right.
and that causes problems in a lot of
He hate
relationships.
texting.
Yeah, I hate it. I don't mind texting if we're gonna do a message, but we're gonna go to a long paragraph. I feel if we talk, it goes a lot smoother, because sometimes, say if I pass this to you, right, and you read it, and you put it down, and you pass it to Doc, and he read, he put it down, and you pass it to Shell, and he read, he put it down. I guarantee we all spoke about what we read, it'll be different.
It would be.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when you see things on paper or something typed or text, you be like, you can't see no feeling expression behind it. So you might say something simple, and I'm thinking you saying something crazy.
You take it the wrong
but if
way.
me and you talk on the phone or we face to face,
There's
it's
passion.
a lot. Yeah,
The
yeah,
passion of the
yeah.
conversation
So
is
he
key.
know I hate it. When we got to go too long, I hate it.
I'm going to confess, without exposing names, but
Right.
I was in a 4-year relationship,
Right.
and this young lady was communicating more in text. It would drive me up a damn wall. Like, same thing what you say, bro.
Yeah,
If it goes beyond a message,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at a book,
right.
10 messages that you send me on text, I got a problem with that.
Me too, man.
You know probably the reason why I stayed in that relationship that long.
Yeah.
But it didn't last.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves too. I got to you have to be a communicator.
Yeah, man.
And we may not agree.
Right.
Yeah.
But we
Even
got to,
when we're
let's
different.
communicate.
But let's talk.
Yeah, let's
Gotta
talk,
communicate.
man.
Got to.
Yeah.
But these days everyone is texting, man. Everyone is on their social. Look, I saw a lady walking down the street, and you probably saw it too. It went viral. She was walking down the street. I don't know what city she was in, and on her phone, and flipped over the grill going down the steps and fell down and hurt herself. Because everyone's so preoccupied. You walk down the street, everyone is on their phone. People walk across the street,
Yeah.
on their phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put that shit down,
Yeah.
and I'll walk across
It
the
be
street.
in restaurants. Nice family dinner.
I've seen a couple out. They sat down. I'm
Yeah.
sitting there by myself,
Oh.
just chilling, and they sat down. And the first thing, there was no communication
At all.
They both pulled
Yeah.
out their phones.
Phone.
I'm like, is this couple going to talk?
Yeah.
Like a good 15 minutes went by. I'm like, this is crazy.
That's crazy.
And that's why we have, relationships that are just not working out because
They're
no
not.
one knows how to communicate.
Yeah.
No one knows to talk.
And I always bring that up, even though to family, to friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get caught up in it.
We do.
And
We
I
all
catch
do.
myself.
We all do. Yeah.
But I hate it, man. You know, I hate
Hey
it.
man,
Me
you know what? I
personally,
think there
you know?
should be like a portion of the day where, especially if you're in a relationship, where the phones are away, and whether that, because here's another thing we don't do like we used to, come together as a family and sit down at the table.
Yeah.
At the table.
Not at the table,
Right.
right? Because that's what they still selling, right?
Right,
At
right.
the table, and phones away.
Yeah.
I think that would be my rule.
I saw this movie, and it's the family was sitting at the table, and the father, everybody had to put their cell phone in the middle of the table.
Yeah. That's what's up.
They all piled their phones up at the table, and she said, "Now let's pray and let's eat."
Yeah.
Nobody touching that phone right now. And I said, I like that, man. That was good you did that.
Yeah.
Because if not, the kids everybody gonna be like this. And I think it's social media is big,
It is.
but it's destroying a lot of families too, though.
I keep hearing that. Why do you think so?
It's destroying it as far as not things that's being put on it, as far as being on the phone. When people doing this, they're on social media most of the time.
Yeah.
That's where the lack of communication is coming. That's probably what both that couple you was talking about. That's what they were doing. It probably wasn't text. It probably was on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and
But if that's
stuff
the case,
like
why don't you why go out and date?
that. Right.
We could go do this at home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now,
Go-
but at home is bad too. We don't. We need to put that down and let's talk.
Let's talk. But you know what? And I was in Florida not too long ago, and this is very rare. I get a female Uber driver, and I love it when I have like a beautiful woman driving. Me. I love it, man. I love it. So she was talking, and she's like, I forgot how the conversation started, but she's like, oh yeah, I go to when I get a chance to dress up when I go to a strip club. But she said that she was in a relationship. I'm like, hold on. You're in a relationship, right? She's like, yeah. I said, the only time you get a chance to dress up is when you go to a strip club? She's like, yeah, my boyfriend likes to go to a strip club. I'm like, hold on. So your boyfriend doesn't just take you out, like just to a dinner? No, he's working or, he's looking for work. How's this relationship?
Yeah.
I guarantee you this relationship is not going to go
No, not too long.
too long. Right over.
It's an infatuation relationship.
That's
Infatuation
exactly what it is.
relation. Yeah,
Exactly,
you
man.
know.
So
As soon as they get tired of each other, it's a wrap.
it's a wrap, man. It's a wrap.
So let me ask you a question though. Who's been your toughest interview?
I can't answer that.
That's why I asked.
But let's put it like this. I don't think it behooves anybody, even anyone who comes in to the Beat 139.
Yeah.
If you're opening up your platform, as you did with me tonight,
Right.
for me to sit in front of you and give you one-word answers that really doesn't give you any depth
Yeah.
to.
See, that's my whole point that I was leading to. So, we had so far on our show about 80 guests, maybe some more, maybe more. We had a couple who were unprepared, Now
The guests was
the
unprepared.
guests like me, they had nothing to say.
Well,
You
they
know-
could have also been nervous.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know who the
Yeah,
guest was.
yeah.
I don't want to ask you who the guest
Yeah.
was. But it's a
That's what I
possibility.
call a tough interview.
Yes. when
Because
you
we
pull
keep
it.
asking you questions and you
pull
have
it.
nothing to say.
And-
And so we had to,
So what was their answer? Like when you say nothing to say, and what was the reply? Like you asked them a question, and what would they say?
they'll say anything, but it'll be very brief.
Yeah.
So we'll keep switching up and trying to, to give them a quality interview and lead them in because we felt they were nervous or
Sure.
they were unprepared. But at the same time, you're cutting your interview short because we like, damn,
We
what
have to end it.
what we
You
gonna do?
exhausted- you exhausted everything.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
No, and-
That's what I call a tough interview.
Right. No, that can be a tough interview, but the same thing happens in my world. Not as much as it used to. In the very, very beginning, it used to be like that. But I think one of my biggest flaws, because I loved people who, I observed people who did interviews. I remember I used to watch Brian Gumbel on NBC. I thought he was a good interviewer.
Yeah, he was.
I used to watch Johnny Carson Thought he was a good interview. I like David Letterman style, you know, and I still watch people interview people. I like interviewing people. That's why it's very odd for me to be sitting here and you guys interviewing me, because I never,
There it is.
I rarely.
Well, the B139, we set another standard.
Right.
Mr. Lenny
Definitely
Green.
set a standard.
Yes.
But I love it when people are inquisitive and thorough with the interviews. I think one of my biggest flaws, though, what I had to work on was that I wasn't listening to what people were saying to me. I would just I would have come in with I did my homework, but I wasn't listening, because when I went back to critique myself, I realized, oh man, well, he talked about that. I could have piggybacked with what he just talked about.
But you stuck to
But I
your-
stuck to my script so much. I was just like, okay, and by the way, okay, and horrible. I was horrible. So, you know, I've learned to do my homework, and I learned to, you know, if this opportunity, as it has presented itself tonight, that I would be on the seat, I make sure, look, you're giving me a platform to speak about my career and just talk in general. That's a privilege. Some people, maybe megastars, maybe feel, you know, I really don't need this. That's them. I'm not a star. You know, I'm a regular dude. I do a radio thing.
You start us, man.
Yeah.
You start us.
No,
but in a sense,
we came on a Friday.
What
This is
college?
our-
in a sense, like not like a superstar, like something like that, but in a sense, was we admire your work. We admire your work, and we respect your work. You know, in radio, you know, and all the things that you achieve, and even the things that you're saying to us tonight. Me and Doc are taking heed to a lot of stuff that you're saying. You know, and we're learning some things at the same time, because, like you said, every day we're growing. We're getting better. You know, and that's why we appreciate you coming on the show. You know,
I also appreciate, because it's like you paying it forward. So people don't understand that. Like, you don't have to, like you said, you feel you're a regular guy and stuff like that. Like I said, you ain't had to be here. But, you know, we growing. We ain't even have a year in yet. And for you, that's paying it forward. We love to give. Like, all the time, we were like, what we can do? We want to always give. We gave a lot of people their first interviews. People, to be honest, I ain't gonna say they shouldn't have been, but they should have had a little more of their catalog built up. And we basically, they groundbreaking, and we gave them this platform, and they wasn't really to our criteria. Our criteria basically is people like striving for success, but people who also, we want to see they grind.
Sure.
Like, so we want to see a pattern of work. We ain't going to jump, you just did a song, okay, come on.
Right.
No, we want to see the work.
You got to
we
put the work in.
put the work in.
You got to put the work
So
in.
it's times we jump the gun and we slid people in.
Well, you know what? I've done the same thing. And so, 1,000 steps start with one, right? So when you give a person an opportunity to learn, or an opportunity that you're exposing their music, hopefully they take it as a gift, because that's what it is. It's a gift. And hopefully they grow. Again, with the downsizing of no more record companies like we used to have back in the day, a lot of the artists that come out now are underdeveloped. They used to be, and I had the privilege of talking to Smokey Robinson from time to time. And he told me about the early beginnings of Motown and how Motown was. And if you ever see him in concert, he does a segment in his shows how wonderful, like they said they would get in Motown at 10 a.m. in the morning, and they would leave like at 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And it was basically a school. And Barry Gordy, and they had choreographers there, and they would learn media development, how to come out, speak to you guys. They would know how to dress. They would need to know how to be polished. We don't have that anymore.
No,
so most of the artist development. Now the artists come any kind of way. You know, some of them are good. Some of them are very, very good. But then you find those
no artist development.
You need some work.
In the NBA, on sports, they have development leagues.
Do they?
E leagues, D leagues, and all that. They development leagues, like the Knicks, you know, New York Knicks, but then they have a Knicks. They carry the name Knicks, but they Westchester Knicks or something like that.
G-League,
so they get these players ready to transition into the NBA. Some make it, and some don't. But they just not pushing them into the league like they used to.
Kids who coming in from college,
Exactly.
they have to do an orientation, like a whole week orientation. They teach you how
to keep the quality.
Is that just with the NBA?
Yeah, because football don't do it. Baseball does it. and
I know,
NBA does.
I know NBA do it, and they also get people how to spend their money, like how to be responsible, not just to go. They have like all type of seminars where they show on screens like they do role plays. I think it was great. I saw like behind the scenes. It's great. Like, they do a role play how guys have this money here, and then it's gone like 2 years after he retired. You know.
I think the NFL needs to do this. The NFL needs that.
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
They do because
they
look,
do.
you know, we forget, and when we're looking at TV, you know, the angle of how they shoot it. You don't think these guys are big. Like I don't know what they ate that I didn't eat to make them be like they're giants.
Yeah, they big.
And they're huge.
Yeah, they big.
And they're kids.
Young boys.
They're
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
I'm like, what did I not
Eat
eat?
pancakes 3 times a day.
Well, they must have put something different in our pancakes because, like, I got big feet and I didn't make 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? So that's the problems. But a lot of people forget that these are kids and they need to be taught. Now,
Exactly.
you know, they've been pampered a lot, especially with the schools, because you know when these schools they look at you as a dollar sign, especially if they see that you have some skills and you have some talent, and they're going to make that money out of you and get championships. That's how they make more money. That's how these schools make money. So they really don't care about how you are as a person, but I think it's really important that you have these, like I would bring the retirees, the old heads of NBA, NFL, and assign them for like a year or 2 years to a rookie.
Right.
And that's your
Like
big
sort of like an orientation type.
more
Like a
than-
big
more
brother.
Like
It's
a
like a
big
big
brother.
brother.
Like he has to
Big brother.
watch you. And you have any problems, you go to him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's done it.
Big
Right.
brother, yeah.
Important for those again who have walked before you.
Yeah.
And like you said, that salary you could give him, like you said, for a year. Like you could bring a former player in for a year and do
Keep
that.
his nose out of trouble because
Yeah.
you hear a lot of stuff that goes there.
That NFL is crazy.
NFL is crazy. A lot
It's
of these
getting
sports
worse.
are crazy.
But you know what's crazy though? I was watching Gilbert Arenas podcast, and he's like, he in the club in the football, and I've been in clubs. Football players they do buy all these bottles. Mind you, they contract not guaranteed,
Right.
and they lifespan in the NFL is only like 5 years. So then he said they spend all around. He's like, what the hell is this? So Gilbert is funny, and he's saying like, he said I'm getting $100 million. He said I only got like one bottle and some waters and orange juice and pineapple juice. And he said, well, I ain't gonna let you out, dude. I'm gonna show you going. And he said he started buying bottles. But he's like, I don't understand them NFL players. They ain't even making the money we making. And he said they always like ball out in clubs. And I seen it myself.
You know, I don't want
That's
to
very
I don't want to throw anybody personally under the bus. I mean, but I just feel that you're coming into the league. It's big money. You go from rags to riches instantly.
Right.
Once the NFL happens, if you're drafted,
Yeah.
whether you're first pick or 15th pick,
Yeah.
you're going to make more money than what you had before we leave out of this
Exactly.
building. Right? If you're picked,
Yeah.
you're on your way. You are now an NBA, an NFL, an MLB player.
Right.
That's a different arena.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you got true friends.
Right.
You need that one friend who's going to keep it real with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he stays around you,
Exactly.
so he keeps you balanced. Because you know, everybody becomes your friend instantly, and everybody ain't your friend.
Yeah. You know that.
So,
They always your
also-
friend when you got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You find out your real friends when things get rough.
oh, don't you?
I've been hearing they pumping up your Super Bowl party all week on the radio.
Yeah.
So can you get into that for the listeners?
So obviously the big game is going down this Sunday. It's in Brooklyn at Rustic Tavern. Rustic Tavern is 471 DeKalb Avenue. Black-owned establishment. Brother Fonz has this establishment for, probably over 10 years. A quaint little lounge, bar, restaurant, and they have a couple of screens, and DJ Mitch, the people policer from WBLS, he's going to be on 1s and 2s, and we'll have some tickets to give away and some T-shirts to give away. And I'm a New York guy, so that means I'm not going for the Patriots. If Mickey Mouse was playing, I would be going for Mickey Mouse if they were playing the Patriots. So
Yeah,
I'm going for the
same
LA Rams.
I get the same feeling.
And if I hate to say this, and you probably may not like me after this, I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan. I'm a Giants fan first.
Exactly.
I'm a Jets fan second.
Yeah.
And for those who say you can't have two teams, yes, I can. Both of them from New York.
So you got who now?
I'm Giants first,
Right.
Jets second.
Okay.
And when they're both out,
Right.
there's only one other team I go for.
Who that?
Steelers.
Yo, you know what? I was just about to say that. A lot of people like the Steelers.
Well, let me tell you why. When I was a kid, probably around your son's age, my last name is Green. I saw a Steeler
Right.
with my last name.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
big for me.
Mean Joe Green.
Mean Joe Green,
Mean Joe
number
Green.
75.
Number 75.
And that stuck. So that was my connection
Yeah.
going back that far.
That's like me. My name Kareem, and I started liking the Lakers because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, I don't like the Lakers either, but I understand
I'm
your
a Laker fan because
I got it.
because I'm like, oh, you got my name.
You got your name.
So
What
I
about
started
you,
liking
brother?
the Lakers.
I bleed blue, man. I'm Yankees, I'm Giants,
Okay.
and I'm a Laker.
Oh, wow. I'm in the middle of two Lakers.
Yeah.
Help me, ladies and gentlemen, help me.
Kobe, man. Kobe's my guy, man.
So LeBron is not?
Nah.
Wow.
I respect his game,
Yeah, I respect this game.
Okay.
and I respect him what he does in his community.
Oh, yeah, I
involvement.
love that.
Oh, man, I love that too.
I love that.
I respect him what he does as a husband
yeah.
and
I
as
love
a
that too.
father.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But certain little off the court things he did, I didn't really
I
appreciate.
got you.
Bandwagon, he bandwagon, he
Got it.
jumping around. He started the bandwagon thing. He made it famous, you know. if you
Got
ask
it.
me.
Got it. I feel
To
you.
each his own, because he's a businessman. He's entitled to go where he want to go. That's the only thing I got against him. But other than that, he's the best player in the league, hands down.
Yeah, he's a good
And
one.
I give him his pride. He's the king.
He's
you know?
a king.
But he ain't do it like Kobe though.
Oh, well, then,
Imagine.
Right.
Well, what about Jordan?
Jordan's
Jordan's
a messiah.
Yeah, Jordan.
That's the difference. We don't want Jordan is. They say
yeah.
Jordan is Jesus in the flesh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't talk about Jordan, man. My son. Let's talk about Jordan real quick. We'll get back to you. My son is 6. Christmas, he always wants Jordans. So one day I'm saying, you know what? Me and Kareem talked about this earlier. I'm gonna ask you a question, man. He said, "What's up?" I said, "Why you want to wear Jordans? Do you know who Michael Jordan is? Have you ever seen him play? You 6 years old." He said, "No." But you want Jordans though.
Right.
Jordan is still popular, man.
he's
He ain't
still
been on the court in so long.
Yeah.
Little kids, they want Jordans.
Yeah.
There was a player, I think, that I can't remember who challenged Jordan. And he stepped up to the challenge.
Yeah.
Took him out.
Took him
He
out.
still got flavor.
Yeah, he do.
He still got flavor,
Yeah.
man. He's
Yeah.
the GOAT.
But he said there's no iron team, but it's iron win.
Wow. I like that.
When he was at when he went to the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
and they said, Jordan, you know, he said, there's no iron team. He said, yeah, but there's an iron win.
Yeah.
Everybody started laughing and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, you know.
I mean,
but now he's the Messiah, man, you know.
The Messiah.
But tell everybody where they can find you at, Lenny.
I'm really easy. I'm on all social media platforms. And don't get mad at me when you pull up Facebook and you see several pages pop up. I'm trying to work it out. Facebook is kind of difficult.
Right.
But you can catch me on Facebook at Lenny Green. Catch me on Instagram and Twitter at Lenny Green. And that's where I stop. I'm not on Snapchat. No, I'm not doing that yet.
Right.
So, but you can find me there. And coming soon will be my website.
Right.
Probably before or by spring.
You got any projects that you're working on right now that the people need to know about?
Well, yeah, the biggest project I'm working on right now is preparing for my 15th annual Lenny Green Family Day. It happens in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, the first Sunday in August, which this year will be August 4th. It's my way of giving back to the community.
Right.
We have just community-based everything. We bring out health screenings. We bring out job recruiting. Myself and singer Raheem Devon, we sponsor at least 4 or 5 children, high school kids, to be a part of the Get on the Bus College Tour, where they can visit historically black colleges and universities during their break in Easter, to give them a hope or a desire. Because sometimes children have to see. They have to see.
Yeah.
You got to be able to see what's ahead. And if you can get them early enough to see and envision, you might be able to, for them to continue to further
You
their
never do,
education.
man. We have to do something like that.
Yeah.
I'm listening to this.
Yeah. so,
Yeah,
so that's a big thing. And then because it's the 15th annual, we're going to bring some special celebrity friends to be a part of it, some local talent to be a part of it, and just make it a big, spectacular day. Family is really important. It's the quintessential aspect to all of our lives. I also pay homage to my mom's life and legacy by acknowledging 8 women, 8 mothers, who unfortunately have had the task of raising their children by themselves, because that was reflective of my mom. My mom raised myself, my older brother, and my younger adopted brother. I didn't have any sisters, unfortunately. So I have the Mama Green Women of Dignity Award that I give out to 8 women. You said, well, why 8? Well, my mom's birthday was in August.
Right.
And that's the significant reason why I choose 8 women. And we give them a beautiful award, with their name on it, and we give them flowers because I believe I always will give my mom flowers, just because, not because it's a particular reason, but just because I believe in giving flowers. And some people may say you're corny or whatever, you're soft. I'm the quiet soft guy, so I don't care.
Too, but I believe in giving flowers too.
Hey, look, man, you know, I want you to be able to smell your roses, enjoy the moment. Yeah, I know they die, but what lasts forever?
Exactly.
Nothing lasts forever. So, it becomes a fun day community event in Brooklyn, and I hope everyone comes out. So that's the biggest event. And then Shayla, who's on WBLS, and we're working on a destination trip for the summer as well. Last year we did a cruise. We had a few islands. We brought a couple of celebrities out, including CeCe Pedersen. And this year we'll make it a destination. So we're looking at a few islands, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks you'll be hearing about that.
Yeah, I might have to join you on that too.
Hey man, we love it. Love that for that.
Because I like cruise ships. I haven't been on.
No, we're not gonna do a cruise. We're gonna do a destination.
Well,
So
that's
that's
destination too.
okay. Yeah. I think it's important that we travel, man, and see everything beyond our community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why not?
So let me ask you for a favor, right? Can you tell everybody what's the #1 podcast show in Harlem right that you on, brother?
Oh, the #1 podcast show that I know about is the Beat 139. Word.
Yeah, it is.
And I really appreciate these brothers for having me on. And that was very, very unexpected, but very well appreciated. And I'm humbled and thankful for this opportunity just to share myself with you guys.
Thanks to have you on the show.
My honor. Anytime, my brother.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Thank you, my brother.
Anytime, man.
A lot of
Continued
good.
success and happiness, and keep touching the community.
Thank you,
Definitely.
My man.
Yes.
Bam.